Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? If you're
Yes,
hearing, please let me know.
yes, Miss, hearing you clearly.
All right, great. Tiana, you said you're in grade 7, correct?
Yes, Miss.
All right, Javane said grade 8. Idris, which form or grade are you in?
I'm in Form 1.
Form 1 as well, okay. All right, so Javane, I'm still waiting on confirmation if there is a grade 8 group. Okay, but if you don't mind, you are free to stay in the session. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
All right. So good evening once again, everyone. I am Miss Williams, and I will be guiding you through these sessions, Mondays and Tuesdays. And as best as we possibly can, we will learn and have fun together with mathematics. And the topics that may be seen as somewhat challenging, we'll try our best to go through them so that we have maximum understanding. And to start us off, of course, for me, I like to give a riddle. So the question is, and if you've heard it before, you can just hesitate a little bit before you answer. The question is, how many eggs can you put in an empty basket? You can send your response directly to me. How many eggs can you put in an empty basket? Just send it to me as a private message. How many eggs can you put in an empty basket? All right, I see the responses coming in. Okay. All right. Waiting, still waiting. I'm seeing, okay. All right, thank you very much. Waiting on one more person to respond, because there are only 3 of you here, so I'm expecting each person to give a response. Ah, interesting. Okay, so let me read the responses. So starting from the most recently received, Javane is rethinking. So Tiana had said 7. Idris said 1. And Javane gave 2 other options before, 50 or 40. And okay, Javane, are you typing another response? You preparing another one? Or you're thinking of how big the basket is? Okay, thank you very much. So what Idris has shared to me is that in selecting 1, because after 1, the basket wouldn't be empty anymore. So the minimum or the amount of eggs that you can put in an empty basket for starters is going to be 1. All right. Thank you very much. My sharing of presentation is taking a bit longer than expected. Let me try this again. Okay, are you all able to see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes, yes, miss.
All right. So as we are about to look at our topic, we are focusing on, or we'll be focusing on directed numbers. And the questions that will be directing our lesson for this afternoon, this evening, will be like, what are directed numbers and why do we call them directed numbers, and the ways in which these numbers can be represented. So let me ask each of you before we get into the specifics, what do you think are directed numbers? You can open your microphones or you can send it in the chat, but I would like if you open your microphones and talk. So if you wish to speak, just raise your hand and I will acknowledge you. So go ahead, please. Yes, Idris, go ahead.
Is it a number that describes something specifically?
Yes, yes, thank you very much. You can go ahead. Go ahead. Next person, go ahead.
Miss, direct numbers are numbers that are on the number line or real line.
Real line or number line. Okay. Javane, what about you? Remember to lower your hand, Tiana. Javane, what about you? Do you have a response you'd like to share?
No, miss.
Would you like to give it a try?
No, miss.
All right, no problem. Okay, so Idris and Tiana, you shared your responses. So why do you think they're called directed numbers based on what you think they are? So Idris, you said, you commented that, representing something. So why do you think that's what directed numbers are?
Because of the name, it sounds like it's only for one thing.
All right. Tiana, what about you?
Miss, I've actually done directed numbers in class, so that's why I know that the directed numbers are numbers that are represented on the number line, either positive or negative numbers.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, as Tiana just mentioned, like some of you, well, there are only 3 of you present here, but I know that based on the schools that you're attending, the topics may not all be covered at the same time. So what we have decided to do in our design is that we're choosing primarily the topics that seem to be challenging on the onset, and we will develop these concepts as we go along. And challenging in terms of just challenging in general and not necessarily specific to you as individual students. And from there, whatever misunderstanding or whatever areas that are not as clear as they ought to be, it is my intention to help to clarify and to clear up those misunderstandings. All right.
Yes,
And
miss.
the next part is, now, as Antiana mentioned, one of these though, the ways in which you can represent directed numbers. Tiana had mentioned on the number line or the real line. But if we're not seeing it on the number line, are there other ways in which we can say that a number has a direction or it is directed? So those are some of the things that we'll be looking on or looking at in our discussion for the remaining minutes that we have. And remember, as we go along, feel free to raise your hand if there are any questions, any concerns, or anything that you'd like to share that is related to the topic that we're covering now. Also, before I forget, if you have not registered officially through the website, I will be sharing a link in a few minutes that will facilitate your registration exercise. Okay?
Okay, Miss.
Yes, because we would like to be able to monitor all the students that we have participating in our program. And so we will be reviewing integers, and then to go specifically at directed numbers, looking at the definition, how they're represented, what real-life representation of directed numbers would look like, and then operations on directed numbers. The reason we can link directed numbers to the set of integers is directed numbers come from the main set of integers. And if you have done sets before from the primary level, or even starting off in Form 1 and Javane for you in grade 8, you may be familiar with subset. So your directed numbers would be a subset of your bigger set of integers. So we're building the foundation or rebuilding the foundation. So your integer set will be that set of positive and negative numbers and 0. And once we have these 3 dots here at the start and at the ending, these are just to represent or to show that this set is infinite. And for those of you who are students of English language, we call these 3 dots together the ellipses, and they simply mean it continues forever, it's unending. So our directed numbers would be the positive and the negative portion of our integers, which would mean that they're taking their direction from 0, as you can see here on the number line being represented. Generally, we have our positive numbers being represented to the right of 0 and the negative numbers on the left. So your number line, it is usually extending forever and ever in the opposite directions. And that is why you will see the arrowheads to show that this number line, it will continue. And as Tiana also mentioned with the real line, so in looking at the real line, we're talking about real numbers by extension. All right, I would have to refocus this in a few. So can you tell me, if you were to take 10 steps backwards, or you were to go back 10 steps, how would you represent this action? What would you write? You can type or raise your hand.
Sorry, could you repeat? I had to get something.
Okay, no problem. And whenever you have to step away from your device, you can just let me know, okay?
Okay.
Yes. So I'm looking at, are you still able to see the presentation?
Yes.
All right, great. So we're just looking at how we can represent these actions that are written in words in, let's say, directed form. So we know that directed numbers would be your positive numbers and your negative numbers. And they're taking their direction from 0. But what if I have, or what if I want you to go back 10 steps? How would you represent that in terms of numbers, directed numbers?
You would go into negative.
You go into negative, all right. Thank you very much. Tiana, go ahead, please. I see your hand as well.
Miss, 10 steps. 10, you move 10 units to the left of 0.
And that will take you to which number specifically? If you were to use the number line, 10 steps to the left of 0 takes you where?
To negative 10, miss.
All right, thank you very much. Javine, do you have a response?
Miss, can you repeat, please?
How would you write going back 10 steps in terms of numbers?
Miss, we can start from -1 to negative. Start from -1 back to -10.
Okay, when you say start from -1 back to -10, do you mean you're literally at -1 on number line and you're counting 10?
Miss, basically what I'm trying to say is we start from -1 and we go back, like we're doing the numbers backwards, like 1 and like the right or left, I don't know, might be left. We start from the left, go down to 10.
Okay, question. If you start at -1 and you're going backwards 10 steps, how far will that take you? So if you go, so you say you're at -1, right? So the first step backwards will take you to -2. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, miss.
And then if you continue until you get 10 steps, how far from -1, or which position, let me say that way, which position from -1 would you be? Which number?
Miss 0.
You'll be at 0.
Yes, miss.
How so? So are you saying that you're starting from 0 now, or when you go from -1 backwards?
Miss, I made a mistake. Miss, I made a mistake right there because Miss 0 is like positive and negative. So maybe I have to start from 0 to go to 10, -10.
Thank you. I'm happy. You saw the correction or the mistake that you made. That is why I asked you the question again, to see where you were starting from. So just for general purposes, remember your direction is taken from 0. So whatever your reference point or your starting point. Now, if it said you're taking 10 steps backward and you're given a reference point, that is different. But for a question like this that is very open, we assume that we're starting from an origin point, and an origin point is generally our 0 point. Okay. What about increasing by 10 degrees? If you're increasing 10 degrees, how would you represent that? You can raise your hand and go ahead. Yes, Javine, go ahead. And then you can follow afterwards. Once Javine is finished, you can follow afterwards, okay?
So Miss, you start from 0, what I said last time, and then you go to the right and you start from 1 to 2, then 3, till you reach positive 10.
Okay, I noticed you said positive 10. All right, thank you. Idris, go ahead.
Basically the same thing he said.
Yeah, but I like to hear you express your same thing.
Okay, so from 10, you would go 10 places to the right into the positives, so that would be 10.
All right. Tiana, go ahead.
Miss, you would move 10 units to the right of 0, miss.
10 units to the right of 0. Okay. So we've gotten the movements, but what would it look like? If I say increase by 10 degrees, what would that look like? Yes, go ahead. I see your hand is still up, Idris. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put that down.
Yeah, but you can still share. What would it look like? What would it literally look like? If you're increasing by 10 degrees, what would that literally look like? You can give me in terms of numbers.
0 plus 10.
0 plus 10. All right, Tiana, I see your hand. Go ahead as well, please.
Miss, Miss, are you talking about how the number, the answer that we got, how it would look like?
Yes. So you've given me in words, but what if you were to write it as a number? What would increase by 10 look like?
Miss, you can either add a plus to the 10, or you can just write 10.
All right, thank you very much. Now, the reason I'm asking what it would literally look like, as oftentimes we can see the words, but we're not making the connection between the number and the words. So when we are representing directed numbers, there are primarily two signs that we use. We have our positive sign, which is represented by the plus, and then the negative sign, which we will sometimes see as the minus sign. But the question that usually comes out about, Miss, how can you tell the difference between the minus and the negative? Now, that is a question for another session. But what you have to understand, though, is that when you're looking at the number in its individual state or in its individual sense, if there is a positive sign to the right of it, then you take to the left of it, sorry, you take that number. Let me not say a positive. If there's a plus sign to the left of the digit that you're focusing on, or the numeral, then you will take that number to be positive. Now, if you're seeing a takeaway, a subtraction sign, a minus sign, if you're seeing that sign to the left of any term and there are no other operations following it, then looking at the term itself, you will treat that term as its negative. And what about showing an increase, or not increase, you're earning $6. How would you write that? If you earn $6, what are you doing? Yes, go ahead. I can still hear you, so you can go ahead.
Miss, so if you earn $6, you're going to have 0 to 6. So you go right, and then you get positive, and you still have positive.
Okay, so Javane, if you have $10 and I give you $6, how would you represent that if you were to write it down?
So, Miss, you gave me $10, and you gave me 5, and gave me 6. So basically, it would be like one has negative, and one have the one you gave me will be negative, and the one you have will be positive. So we might have 0 to negative 6, and 0 to positive 5.
Okay. All right, so let me put it another way. You have $10 already. That's your $10. Now I am giving you an additional $6. So you're getting $6 more. How would you write that? Idris or Tiana, would you like to respond as well?
Miss, Miss, can you repeat what you have said, Miss?
You have $10 and there's an additional $6. How would you write that?
Miss, Miss,
Okay, anyone else would like to try?
Miss. $16.
Okay, how did you get that $16? What did you do?
$10 plus $6.
Okay, so when you're earning, it's a plus, that's a positive, that's an additional amount. And then a loss of $6 would be
Subtracting.
a subtracting. All right, thank you very much. So what we're looking at now is just what you have just mentioned. So thank you very much for sharing your responses. Now, if we're looking at positive and negative numbers, we can say that we're looking at opposites of each other. Your original action is usually, well, depending on your question, and then we're just looking at opposite of it. So if you're given a term and it's positive, then you're looking at the undo or the opposite of that. If you're given a negative, looking at the undo or the opposite of that. So let us give it a try. So you have a negative 10. What will be the opposite or the undo of a negative 10?
Positive 10 or just 10?
Positive 10 or just 10. Yes, Tiana, go ahead. I'm just seeing your raised hand. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Miss, it can also be written as negative 10.
Negative 10, and which will also take us back to what?
Which is also equals to 10 or plus 10.
Thank you very much. Javane, you still here following?
Yes, Miss.
All right, great. And what about, okay, so there are 3 of you here as students. So let me ask each of you. All right, so it was Idris who had shared the response. So let me go, and then Tiana had picked up. So Javane, I'm gonna start with you, and then Tiana will go again. So Tiana, you will do -8, and Idris, you'll pick up with -6. So Tiana, so Javane, what is +8? What's the undo operation for a +5?
Miss, -5.
-5, that is correct. Tiana, I believe this one is yours. Go ahead.
Miss, positive 8.
Thank you very much. Idris, go ahead, please.
Positive 6, Miss.
Oh, this should be a positive sign. I will change it. Let me just put the note there. That should be positive. Let me just turn this into positive for now. Okay, and then -6 would have been a +6. That is correct. So already I see that you do have the foundational aspect or the foundational grasp of directed numbers. Now, what I often find is that once we start introducing operations, meaning start looking at going positive, negative, or even doing multiplication and division, there may be some confusions. So I'm going to share a link with you in the chat, and I will also try to see if I am able to play it without any internet glitch or any delay. But I'm going to share it in the chat so that if there are delays, you can go ahead and watch it. I'll give you a few minutes to watch as time allows. All right. Give me a minute, please. Let me just exit so as I can exit the slide show. All right, so I have just shared the link for the YouTube video that was in the PowerPoint presentation. And I am now about to share the link for the registration form. So remember, if you have not officially registered, please click on the link to complete your registration process.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Yes, you are welcome. All right, Javane, I've gotten official word. There isn't a group for grade 8. However, you are welcomed to stay as it will help to strengthen your foundation, not just for grade 8 topics, but as well as you go along with math. Because you know, each level or each year that you're going up in high school, you're just building on the foundation that you have. Okay, Javane?
Okay, Miss.
Yes, so you are free and welcome to join us every Monday and Tuesday. Oh, Hussein, are you in grade 7?
Yes, Miss.
All right, great. So let me just go ahead now and share that link for registration. All right, so I have just shared with you the link for registration. If you have not registered as yet, please go ahead and do so. I will now go ahead and share the YouTube video presentation, which will give us an insight as to how we can work with directed numbers on a number line. So Hussein, what you have missed before is just our rebuilding or just rediscovering of the foundation of what directed numbers are, how we represent them, and the representation on a number line. So that is what you have primarily missed. And what we'll be sharing now is the video presentation of how we can work with directed numbers in addition and subtraction on a number line. So in case you have missed the video link, I have posted it once more. You can also see the registration link. I'm about to share the video, and remember, if you are not seeing it without any glitch and so on, or let me say it another way, if you're seeing it and there are glitches, please feel free to watch from your device, and I will give you the instructions on the points to stop. All right, so as I suspected, it's not playing. So please, I'm asking that you have a quick look at the video. You can skip through the first portion, like the first 2 minutes of the video will demonstrate what direction of the movements that you're making for addition with positive and negative numbers. Let me know if you're able to view it on your side, please, because it's taking forever to share in this main presentation.
Yes, Miss, I can see it.
You can see it. Are you talking from my screen or yours?
My screen, Miss.
Okay, great. So I'm just gonna ask you to look at like the first 2 minutes of the video. And that will take us to 6:25. And then we will begin our closing down or wrapping up exercise. Idris, are you also able to watch it on your device, on your side? Hussein, what about you?
Yes, I'm able to watch it on my side.
You're watching it from your side? Okay, great. Javane, are you back?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, are you able to see the video link? Can you watch it on your side? Because it was taking a while to load on my device when I was sharing the presentation, the video link, I should say.
Yes, Miss, I can see it, Miss.
Excuse me, Miss.
Yes, go ahead.
I could see it a little bit on your side, but it was kind of moving slow.
Yes, I noticed it. That's why I had to end the video sharing, because I even got the notification that low system, you know that tag you get sometimes when your bandwidth is acting up.
Yes, Miss.
Yes, that is why I saw it fit to share the video link in the chat in the event that that would happen. So you have about a minute left to just watch this, as I said, the first 2 minutes, because there's a demonstration of the movements in terms of the direction that you're taking. Yes, Idris, go ahead.
Oh, Miss, I finished watching the video.
All 8 minutes, you skipped through?
A little bit, Miss.
No problem, because you realize that after a while it becomes a matter of repetition. So it's just about understanding where to move and how to move. All right. Oh, Idris, can you type how you felt, like what your opinion of video was? You can send it in the chat like a general message. It doesn't have to be private or direct to me.
What do you mean by that? It's like a summary of the video.
No, tell me what you think of the video. Was the video easy to understand? Did it make anything clear for you that you may not have understood before? Stuff like that. All right, Hussein, what about you? From the parts that you have watched, what's your take on the video itself? Thank you, Idris. Anyone else wishes to share on the first 2 minutes? All right, thank you very much. So I too also find the video to be easy to understand. And this author, this YouTuber, he has described the movement in a very simple way, whether you're looking at a positive direction and addition, or if you're adding a negative number, subtracting a negative number. How he explained it is very straightforward. So let me just go back once more to the presentation. So Hossein, I'm just going to do a quick recap of what we have done so far, and then tomorrow in our session, we will continue. Everyone is able to see the presentation? Okay. All right, thank you very much. So as we have looked at before, and let me go back to slide share mode. Okay, my screen has okay, my screen is acting up, but if you're able to, are you able to see the part that says action and undo, or the numerical representation?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, yes. So with directed numbers, we're focusing primarily on numbers that are negative and numbers that are positive. 0, although an integer, it is neither positive nor negative. What it does is tell you, or it gives you the idea of the direction, or it is your reference point. So all your numbers that are positive and negative, they take their direction from 0. And for each activity or each action that you have, you can represent it in a numerical way. If there's anything that's going backwards or south or west, we look at those as negatives. Anything that's an increase going forward, additional, earning, those are positive actions. So that's positive. That's a positive term. Focusing now on, and I'm still not in, in slideshare mode now, yes. So focusing on looking at the first bits that you would have seen in the video here, they primarily focused on using the number line and the movements taken. And making an addition is a forward movement, meaning you're going to the right of your reference of 0. Doing a subtraction is in the negative. However, when you pair the operations of either positive and negative with a negative term, then how you do or carry out your calculation or your operation will depend on the direction that we're facing. So we have two positive terms undergoing addition, a +3, a +3, and a +7. And if we're using, so first our first term here is 3. So we're at 3 and it says we're adding 7 and an addition of 7. So remember, we're looking at addition as a movement to the right, an increase. And this is an increase of 7 units. and we will demonstrate. Well, my apologies here. Oh yeah, yes. And we're adding 7 units, and that will take us to 10, a positive 10. Now the next item there, that's a -3, take away a +4. In reference to the video, we first identify our -3, and I'm just doing these 2 first points, and we'll continue tomorrow. So just to get you started, you can save the video link and have a watch or another watch of it afterwards. Our second item there, let me use a different color. Identify your -3 first. And it says subtraction of a +4. Subtraction generally takes you, or that's a movement to your left. You're subtracting a +4. So that means you're continuing with your subtraction. So you're going now 4 units to the left of -3, and that takes you to a -7. So how you treat your addition and subtraction depends on the operations and if the terms that you're using are either positive or negative. So remember, directed numbers take their direction from 0. Directed numbers are positive numbers and negative numbers. Yes, Javane, and then we will dismiss. Go ahead, Javane.
So, Miss, basically, I didn't mind differently from yours.
Go ahead, share quickly.
So, Miss, are you doing -3 and plus take away +4 or the
Yes,
first one?
that's the one. That's what I'm doing. Share. You can share how you did yours.
So, Miss, I basically did mine like I start from +4 to and go to negative like 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I got +1.
Okay, but is the question asking you, or is it telling that you start from +4? Because remember, our first term that's given, that's usually your starting point. So we're starting at -3, and from -3, we're taking away a +4 units. So you'd have to keep that in mind as well, okay?
Okay, Miss.
Yes, because if you use the method of identifying the 4 first, then going backward or going to the left 3 units, that will not be a true representation of what the expression is asking you to do. Are you following what I'm saying or what I'm sharing?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so in tomorrow's session, we will continue to look at this. And remember, if you do have time, you can go ahead and watch the video again. And you can even try the questions, follow the prompts from the video to, pause the video, do these questions, and then you double check your answers. It was a lovely first day. And I do hope that I will see you and more students tomorrow. Please remember to fill out the registration form if you have not done so as yet. Okay? Do have
Yes, Miss.
a good evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow, all being well. Bye.
Bye,
Take
Miss.
care.
Bye, Miss. Have a good night.
Yes, you too, my dear.
Bye, Miss.
Bye.